Abductions.
He turned around and he looked at me, but he didn't turn around the way a normal person turns
just
around.
His body was like this, his head just turned.
Everything cracked and crunched. He turned around feet first. And then his body kind of ragdolled around to face me.
That's so sick, dog. Oh.
That's wild.
Something about the symmetry of this dude's face was off as well. His eyes and face were making the uncanny valley alarms go off in my head like a tornado siren. His fingers were skinny, bony, a little bit too long to be normal. The hand was also completely white, like how a dead person's hands are white in a casket at a funeral. No pigment other than the pale color of a dead body.
I live a very simple life. I'm just concerned with like raising my son, being a good husband, and then just kind of hanging out and watching some, reading some. I don't go out. I don't go to bars. It's like a beacon. As soon as you do it, these things all come towards you. And then you start having all these experiences. If we have the opportunity to push back against this thing that I believe is very real and we can do it in a meaningful way, give me that all day. Very much the same way where it's like worship anything else but God. You know, where they're like, they're cool with you venerating Star Wars. It's just as long as it's not going to God, that's fine. Damn it, dude. There's like a couple of things that God has on a list, like real red flags. Like, this is what he's going to do.
Thou shalt not take any gods before me. No ukulele covers.
No ukulele covers.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Nephilim.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, head in the clouds, and won't awaken to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of NDS Chronicles, the show where we read your submitted paranormal testimony. In fact, if you want us to read your submitted paranormal testimony, then send that over to, what is it, Chronicles NDS?
chroniclesnds@gmail.com. Go ahead and send that over. Spooky stories only. Thank you. No feet pictures.
Actually, we have some pictures. No feet pictures, unless the feet are blurred. If you blur the feet,
yes,
we'll allow it. That's fine.
Blurred feet's fine. We have some nice pictures today for you guys, which I'm kind of excited to show you.
Yeah, I was a little bit jarred when I jumped into the Google Drive file and was greeted by pictures of, well, we'll get into it. But before we get into it, a quick announcement. Sometime around the 30-minute mark, we're going to be going live exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, where you can continue enjoying this episode, engaging with the live chat, and gaining early access to the episode, as well as an ad-free viewing experience. You can do it all for free. Sign up for that 7-day free trial and enjoy the content, because God knows there is a lot of it. There is a lot of backlog content on patreon.com. In fact,
that's right.
I just want to say something really quick, because a lot of people told us.
You just want to say something real quick?
Yeah, I just want to say something real quick. Well, really, the whole show is about me just wanting to say something. But we've been told by a lot of people that the model that we're going with is bunk. It's not going to work out for us. Who are we to paywall content? Who are we to offer people, content in exchange for money? And what I will say is all the bitching happens on YouTube and Rumble. Our Patreon subscribers love what we're doing. And it's because we're super prolific. And and somebody said in the comments earlier that they used to listen to other podcasts until Nephilim Death Squad started creating 30 hours a week worth of content. Yeah. So I just want to say that despite all the naysayers, you will find that the grass is greener over on patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. And everybody there is happy. And that's why it keeps on growing. So for you and your dumb that's all. I just wanted to say
it actually is kind of, it's crazy. I mean, people that are part of the Patreon. There's a guy, shout out to Subaru Fufu.
I love that motherfucker.
I love that guy too. And he's going to listen to this every time I post a show, when I post the MP3. And there's a lot of complaints on the Patreon, mostly because David doesn't upload the video immediately after.
Yes.
Bear with us. the way my internet works is I got a check-ins and a say no. I have bad internet. I'm in the middle of nowhere. So like I got Starlink. I can't really upload video. So I upload the audio. I get that to you guys quick. Hopefully you listen to it. That you guys listen to it right away. But you want to see the video? David's gonna tag along like a day or so or a couple hours later. Yeah, and he'll update with video. But
you know what Subaru said today? Instead of saying, because every time we post something, Subaru goes, "Thank you." That's what he says every time. That's the most amazing thing.
I bought a Subaru. I bought a Subaru because of Subaru.
It's exactly why I'm looking at a Subaru because of Subaru. And he said this morning when we posted to Patreon, all he said was, "Cannot wait till I'm out of work at 6 p.m." I'm like, this guy fucks, man. Nothing but good things. Nothing but good things. So, and I say that is because patreon.com/NephilimDeathSquad kind of fucks. It kind of fucks hard.
It does. If you're there too, guys, make sure you go at the very bottom of the page. Again, it's a plug, but it's more like an infomercial, infographic.
To use our Patreon.
How to use. Go to the Spotify. The video and the audio will be on the Spotify. There's no ads. Go to the other podcast app. You can get the RSS feed and you can plug that into your other podcast app and listen with no ads because there are ads on the regular feed. I know people don't like it, but y'all.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I know
we
people
like
are
you
mad
guys.
about
We
that.
like you guys, but it's just
we do like them. It's just like you'd be surprised how many people go out of their way to say this will never work. As we continue to grow and do bigger and better things, and everything on the horizon is promising and beautiful, and we still get these people that are like, "You're gonna fail. Why are you paywalling this content?" So I just wanted to put that out there.
You know what?
It seems that people are very happy over on.
I'm going to paywall harder. As a matter of fact, if you guys get us over like a certain number on Patreon, I don't know what the number is. If you get us over a certain number, we'll carve out time for like an extra Patreon only, something that will be paywalled, so that we're like grinding. We're grinding, but you know what? More money, more problems. Spirit Airlines, Holy Spirit Airlines. Let's do this, man.
All right, let's get into this. All right, our first submission here. I don't know if Nancy is here. Has anybody seen Nancy, our only employee that seemingly never shows up, just constantly no call,
Roll
no
call
show?
Nancy. What she's done here is she's gone to the Google Drive. She's dropped a bunch of dead animals in our Google Drive,
images.
And a very interesting story from Nunya, which I think I think that's a slight on our part. I think that they're trying to not be doxxed. But
well, let's see. Do you mind if I start it off?
Do whatever you want, David.
Fine. That's what I want to do. So Nunya says, "Howdy, boys. Howdy, Nunya.
Howdy.
Is
this a girl? Is Nunya a girl? A Russian girl?
Wait, we've already read. Well, okay, so they go on to say, "I was pumped to listen to my story being read on the Steve Wilkos episode of Chronicles. Stephen Wilkos still yet to return our moon map, yet to apologize, and yet to behave as a reasonable individual."
Bitch, you stupid Steve Wilkos.
Steve Wilkos, you ass. He says, or she says, I don't know what Nunya is. Hope this is the right email this time. It's on you if it isn't, boy. And then it says Top. So Nunya is directly calling you out. And I agree with that because Top was the guy who decided that we needed an additional email for like reasonable. That. You know, it was a reasonable thing to do, but
we got to separate it. It was just getting too crazy. Wait, I like that you called me boy because number one, I was looking at I got like mad gray hairs. I looked at my arm the other day and I had a gray hair on my arm. I'm like,
I got one that comes right out of my chest and I like to, I pull on it and I groom it and stuff. It's my special baby boy.
There's one here too. I pull it out sometimes and it just comes back tomorrow. I'm like,
I don't know how true this is, but if you pull them out, that more will.
I don't know. I pull my wife's gray hair out like she's driving. I'll just go and she gets real mad.
Really quick. We have to address Dylan Farnham. He says Stephen Wilkos me when I was 6 and told me not to tell my parents he wasn't even very good at it. So the trespassings of Stephen Wilkos, they just pile up and pile up and pile up.
He wasn't even very good at it.
The man is a monster. The man is a monster. The least you could do is put some effort into your performance. Okay, so
step your game up.
Step your rape game up. That's a t-shirt. All right. So Nunya says, anyway.
Wait, by the way, guys, I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but there will be, hold on. I think I have.
Did you, is this the Gay Jew Shilfed shirt?
It's not just that, dude. I was up last night until, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning, drafting shirts, just like rough drafts, and they're bangers. They're all bangers. I got one shirt, so I got I'll just name them all for you. It's going to be Fear Not World Tour. I drew like the Ezekiel's Wheel Angel on there.
That's dope.
And on the back, it says Fear Not, like a like a band T-shirt, and every
That's
scripture and verse.
Yo, did you really do that? That's a banger of an idea, dude.
This is the going draft right here, but it's I still have to work it out. It's gonna look something like that. Do you see how that looks? Like with the
I love that. And then it's got all the biblical verses where it says "Fear not" on the back. That's
surprisingly
really cool.
Not 365, but quite a bit. I mean, these are just the ones that I could find. I'm sure that there's more. So I got the Little Seasoners. It's the Little Caesars logo, dude. He's Satan. And it says Satan's Last Deception. We got Holy Spirit Airlines. That's
Holy Spirit Airlines is also a banger.
Owen Benjamin inspired. We got some Kanye coming up. We have the Gay Jew Shill shirt coming up for you.
So excited.
What else? I
really want that. So when we go to Bro Grove, we're gonna have a merch stand, and one of the shirts, just so you guys know, it's me with that gender inversion triangle over my face. And
this
on the
here,
back,
I actually finished. I got to show you this one.
Which one's this?
This
Diarrhea!
I've been working on this for a long time. Yeah, this is so all this stuff. I'm gonna be dropping like maybe 15 shirts. We got a Nelson Mandela shirt, Ouija board shirt, Drunk Driving the Culture shirt. I got a lot of.
I wonder if we could do something with the Mandingo effect. I think that would be fun. The Mandingo effect. That's what I called it when they're turning. I think it was when they're turning people, like you're turning celebrities and stuff, or when they take your favorite character in a book or a series and they turn them. It's called the Mandingo effect.
Oh, well, I mean, we have to have a Niggaverse shirt too, right?
Oh, that's right. Got to have a Niggaverse shirt. Yeah.
I got a Mr. Popo's Torture Chamber shirt ready to go. Mind Control Free Range Chicken shirt. We got our Portal. I don't know why I did this, but Portal Potty. Like I just made like a logo for a company, Portal Potty Rentals. I think it's going to be a banger.
Maybe we should do that. Is that a company we should start?
Yeah, we should. Portal Potty. Go take 2 days, 1 portal potty.
We're investing, dude. Big bank business. That's what we do. That's the only kind of business that we do is big bank business.
We need to read Nunya. How dare you
fine,
interrupt?
I just wanted to say that it's very funny if people buy the shirt at Bohemian Grove and it's my gender inverted face and then it says shill fed on the back. That is a very funny shirt to wear out in public. All right.
Yes.
Let's see. So anyways, here's a story or two from my time as a fish and wildlife officer for my state.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. I got a white people only shirt too. It's going
to be a white people only shirt.
Well, it doesn't say that, but it says now that's what I call white culture. And it's in the style of like, now music. Now that's what I call music.
Now that's what I call music. That's hilarious.
It's going to be, I'm telling you, TOPLOBSTA, all my old is going off and it's just going to be this stuff. So,
I like when you do this. It seems like every few months you'll shed all the old stuff and you'll come up with a bunch of unhinged designs and it's very fun.
Yeah, shout out white people. Let's keep reading.
I want to start by saying I live
2 paragraphs in. What the dude?
I'm trying to get there. Could you shut
okay.
up?
Okay,
right,
go.
I want to start it off by saying I live in southern Appalachia, very close to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So y'all were onto something when Raven pondered my proximity to a national park. Damn, I don't even remember being that smart. I don't know what.
I don't even remember what he said.
I don't know. Apparently, we read one before. For people unfamiliar with the Appalachian Mountains, it's among, if not the most ancient mountain range on the planet. What's even more interesting is I live in an area well known for its cave systems. Interesting development for me regarding y'all's recent research into caves. Yeah.
Is this the guy? Is this the guy that was investigating the orbs? Is this the same dude?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't remember anything.
Nancy.
Where is Nancy? See, these are the things that we pay her to do. Has anybody seen Nancy? Can somebody call Nancy? Sound the alarm. We need assistance, and our assistant isn't here, and we pay her a lot, and this is honestly very disappointing. I think what do you call it? Like a write-up. We should do a write-up, like a formal write-up.
A formal write-up,
and then 3 of those write-ups, and we have to kill her. I guess I don't know.
3 of those write-ups is 1 beating.
1 beating. Yes. All right. So. That is interesting though, because the Appalachian Mountains are covered in that cave system. We talked about that before. It stretches all the way to Indiana. It connects to the Garden of the Gods, and obviously it's rife with national parks, which I think within the national parks is where you're going to find these cave system entrances where they take you down into the subterranean levels and fuck you. Mm-hmm. So since y'all are marginally good little boy. This is such a weird tone to take in this. All right. Since y'all are marginally good little boys, I'll tell the first story that I teased y'all with on my previous submission. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't remember. The guy whose fishing license I was checking that I didn't think was human. Okay.
I think I remember.
I remember now.
Dracula, dude? Is this the guy with the dog?
Might be. Nunya's cool as no, I definitely remember that. Okay.
And yes, Xerox in the chat. We'll get you a Never Goon shirt. I know.
Oh, 100%.
As much help as you can get.
Guys, please pray for Xerox as he is in the throes of goondom, constantly being compelled to tug his. And I've been there before. I know how hard of a place that is. I know how hard things can get. I know how veiny they can get. And so he needs all of the. He needs all the support. But please, prayers for Xerox, our brother in Christ, who never stops. Okay, let's continue on here. So this particular day, I was out checking fishing licenses, but it was a slow day.
Licensee?
Not too many. What?
Licensee?
Licensee.
Licensee.
Not too many trout fishermen out for whatever reason. It was getting fairly late in the day, and the sun was behind the mountains at this point, so it was kind of like a brighter than twilight lighting scenario. Yeah, that's I lived near the Appalachians, and they do a great job of making it darker earlier than it actually is, because, you know, if the sun is setting and it's behind the mountains, it's just you're fucked, so it's very dark.
I don't know where the Appalachians are, but I guess, okay.
Yeah, the Appalachians, the whole mountain range that stretches alongside like New Jersey, goes all the way down to like Georgia or something like that. It's massive. I used to live,
right.
I guess, on part of it. Boom, 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 boom. Give me a second here. All right, not quite dark where I was, but if I hung around for another 30 to 45 minutes, it would be. I was patrolling the mountain stream in my truck when I noticed this older man fishing on the stream bank. This guy was the only fisherman I had seen for miles, and I was itching to catch someone doing something illegal. Damn, dude, what a... I remember he was wearing a red and flannel jacket, beige cargo pants, brown boots, and a full brimmed hat. Yeah, this is a regular dude who hangs out in the woods. That's like their outfit. The dude looked like the most stereotypical fisherman of all time. There you go. I stopped my truck and watched him for a while. Due to the stream being an artificial bait only section, I was observing what he was doing very closely. I had no idea that there were restrictions, even in the way of bait. So you can only use artificial bait in this area. That's fascinating. Why
you guys make up
too
many
you to crush?
rules. I don't know.
Like you can't crush. That's not good.
Yeah, you can't be using real fish. You got to use this fake bullshit fish.
What do you do? All right. As I watched this old guy, I became more and more weirded out by him. He was extremely still when standing, but very smooth in his movements, almost like an NPC in a video game. His clothes were ill-fitting, but only a little bit. Like if you usually wear medium clothes and you put on a large, it still looked good, but it's slightly off. That's the way his clothes were fitting him. Nothing quite fit right. He wasn't looking around. He wasn't moving his head at all. In fact, he just stood there menacingly. Menacingly. Interesting. How does a fisherman stand menacingly? That's fascinating. I guess if you're like incredibly still.
You searched him out. You were like, you were looking, you followed this guy. You were like, I'm going to see if this guy's doing anything wrong. And then he's just standing there and he's like, this guy's menacing. And then you pulled your gun. Like, what?
You know what it was? He's watching him and he's like, no, he's using artificial bait. But he is menacing. There's got to be something I can get this on. That's what it turned into. He's like, yeah, he's following the rules, but how can I his day up? He says, I noticed he wasn't reeling after he casted, which told me he wasn't following the rules of the artificial only section of the stream. I wonder, I mean, not that I'm a fly fisherman, but I wonder how.
Oh, I know what he means. So like, yeah, when you throw bait, regular bait that's like either dead or alive, you can kind of let it sit there and the fish will eat it. But I think he's talking about the artificial bait is the plastic that you're going to want to like make it move.
It look alive.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Oh, good catch. That's a good.
I don't fish at all, but I get what you're saying.
I fish a little bit. I'd like to do more fishing, but I'm just retarded.
I got a lake in the back, but I think
but you
just
have
alligators
gators, and you're like, oh, you can't go near it because they'll eat your, and that's not cool.
Yeah, they'll eat your butch.
Eat your poop. All right, so he wasn't following the rules of the artificial only section of the stream. As I approached him, I announced myself. Fish and game! You having
Fish
any
and game,
luck?
sir.
Fish and game, sir! Then it happened. I'm getting chills recounting this to you. He turned around and he looked at me, but he didn't turn around the way a normal person
Like
turns
just
around.
his body was like this, his head just turned.
Everything cracked and crunched. He turned around feet first. And then his body kind of ragdolled around to face me. What
That's
the
so
fuck?
sick, dog. Oh.
That's wild. That's how I'm turning around when everybody calls me from now on. Feet first and ragdoll body.
Just body.
That's crazy. He says it looked like a glitching NPC or some kind of weird bug in a VR video game. That's
Hell yeah.
fascinating. That's very fascinating. You want to take it up from here?
Yeah. That is kind of crazy. Somebody turns around like that to you,
You kick him in the water.
you
go.
got to shoot him in the chest right away. Like just to be sure. Like right in your report, like what happened is like, well, he turned around feet first, sir. And like feet first.
And
And
you
how
shot
long
him,
did you-
right?
Yeah, you should. It was like this is
Yes,
policy.
sir. Immediately, actually. 5 rounds to the chest. 5 rounds to the chest. I had to be sure it was the only way.
So as a quick side note, I was born and raised in the Great Smoky Mountain area, and anyone living in the South in general knows what I'm saying when I say this. We can absolutely tell if you've got a real Southern accent or if you're faking it.
Oh, that would make sense.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, you could sense it. I grew up with a kid, well, he was a pastor's kid. He played the violin in the band that I was at, and he's from Pennsylvania. He was actually some of these guys, he's probably like fucks with Kanye a lot, like with like I Suck My Cousin's. He's the guy that told me that in Pennsylvania or wherever the hell he was at, they would like all the boys would like meet up and they would kiss each other.
Whoa.
to
what
practice.
Type of gay is that, bro?
That is right to practice for girls.
Whoa.
Anyway,
I think it's
sorry.
it's way easier to kiss your cousin than it is to suck his.
I think so, yeah, because like you could fall in love with a dude by kissing him.
Because I think about it, like my dad wasn't around a lot, but when he kissed me on my cheeks, I remember like the stabbiness of his beard would like, you know, as a kid, you're like, ah. And every time I ever, you know, if you started like, what would it be like to kiss a? Every time I think about that, I think about the bristling. I kissed a chick with thin lips once, right? And she had we were
mustache.
young, but she shaved her mustache.
No.
Like, you know, like a chick
No.
might get a little peach fuzz on her upper lip. She shaved that. So one day we end up hooking up, and all I can remember is how thin her lips were and how spiky her mustache was. And that's when I knew I was like, I could never be. This is
I'm
crazy.
sorry, yeah,
I
look at
can't.
this. Look at this comment from Xerox's right hand. I'm tired. It's crazy. Dude, we're gonna lose Xerox as a patron. Like we have to stop.
We're gonna keep praying for him, and we're gonna keep reminding him not to goon. And look, every time I remind Xerox not to goon, I'm also reminding myself not to goon.
Wait, where were we at?
so-
We were telling the story. So whatever. You're
Oh,
kissing
so
this
I
bitch
kissed
with
a
the mustache.
thin-lipped woman. Was it that?
Yeah, I think so.
I kissed a thin-lipped woman with a spiky upper lip, and I said, "Never again
Yes.
will I do
Puerto
that."
Rican?
And we never hooked up again. But if that was bad, then like kissing a dude must be horrifying. Also, like dad mouth. You know, we're
Yeah.
all older now. Like, I feel like there's no amount that I could brush my teeth and not have like a weird taste in my mouth. And
I'm
like,
trying to
that's
remember
fucking-
why I even brought. Oh, this is why I brought this up. Okay, so yeah, so he kissed other dudes to like practice or whatever. Very, but like
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know. I'm like, well, I don't know what you guys are doing. It's more retarded than. But the reason I brought that up is because he moved to New York and immediately adopted like Sopranos culture, and just like a regular white dude.
Yeah.
And he's just like, hey, oh, bada bing, like, but no idea what's going on in New York. Like, this is how much
he has no idea what gabagool tastes like or anything
No
like
clue.
that. But
He
he's
eats-
talking like he does.
I love this guy. I just went to his wedding, and yeah, surprised he got married. But like, great dude, just
Was
clueless.
it a dude? Was it one of the ones he kissed?
Yeah, no, it was a girl. I think she looked like a girl. But this is a dude that eats pizza with a fork. He once went into a Subway, and some dude asked him for like he pays his fare, goes to the other side. Dude asked him for $20 to hold, and then he's gonna go run up to the ATM, and then he'll pay him right back. He gives him the $20, waits there for like 30 minutes, comes
Fucking
back to me perplexed. He's like, this guy, he must have gotten lost or something. I was like, yo, you got robbed.
It's a busy
Whatever.
city.
No clue what he's doing, but he used to do the fake New York City accent, and it's like you can tell. You're like,
Yeah.
you're not from here.
I'm not gonna
You
lie
know?
though, if I'm around somebody long enough, I'll emulate the accent. So when I went to Georgia, I found myself by the end of the trip having a little twang. I also know that when I went to Staten Island for work when I was younger, probably like 17, 18 years old, I found myself emulating my manager, who was, from Staten Island, and he was a fat guinea, and so it's contagious and it's hard to fight against. The worst version of it is a Madonna that comes back with a British accent. And then on the other end of the spectrum, it's just, you'll be in the South and a little twang will slip out and you go, oh, acting like
when you're around,
when I'm around people, let me tell you something. When I was in that barbershop the other day getting my hair cut,
I don't code switch at all, man.
I can't help it because
we're speaking English today.
I code switch because when I was younger, it was a survival mechanism because I was white and I was in a all neighborhood. And now, if like there was a period in my life where if I got into an altercation, that would come back up. And it was like long after I had moved out of the hood, if I got into an altercation. In fact, there is a video. I'm not going to tell anybody the name of it. There's a video of me almost fighting a dude who comes at me with a baseball bat, and his wife is drunk and she falls and hits her face on the ground because she's so face. So I start mocking her and he rears up to swing the bat at me. And as soon as that happens, it's coded 100%. It's just me screaming like a chimp, like, cause you gonna do like that. I'm gonna show you
guys where I grew up. I'm gonna show you my house where I grew up in. Here, this is fun. We're never gonna read this story, but it's fine.
No, we're gonna read Nunya. We promise Nunya.
All right, this is my house. Actually, it doesn't even look like my house anymore.
That looks like an institution, dog. What
it is an institution. So I lived here, and this is Coney Island. See these right across the street?
Yeah,
as a project.
Oh yeah, those are the project
building. Down the block, project. If you go all the way down the block, there's a boardwalk down there, and then there's a mental institution. But you see all these buildings? You see why I'm racist? Look at this.
Yeah.
Look,
well, I mean, before I moved to Florida, I lived in a project building. Yeah. I lived in it looked just like that. Exactly.
I would not code switch my entire life. Very hard. But something in me was like, don't do it.
I never thought of it as bad. I just thought of it as like, because my starting point was my mom dressing me like a, and so I was like, well, I do dress like a, so maybe this is cool, is to be. So then we went to a therapist, and the therapist said, stop dressing him like a. So my mom bought me an Astros fitted with a matching Astros jersey.
Yes, the Astros.
Yeah. And so that was the beginning of the end for me. But that video is definitely out there. By the way, somebody said, can we make gloves? What if we made fingerless gloves that said "Never Goon" on the on the top of the gloves, dude? That would be a banger, and you wear them as a reminder.
He'd find a way. He'd still find a way.
He'd still find a way
to
do
it.
Actually, I'm just trying to give him every advantage that we can. Okay, let's finish reading Nunya because
he responded in a fake sounding Southern accent, not mocking, just sounded like he was trying to sound similar to me. Nothing really, just enjoying the river. He said. Yeah. This man's voice was like none I've ever heard in my life. What? It sounded like it had been projected at me and cleaned up in an audio tuner to be more even and unnatural sounding. That's weird.
Really?
Weird. Like a voice box or something in his chest. Like it was coming from a speaker. But I watched him say it with his mouth. As I got closer, it felt like every fiber in my body was urging me to haul ass back to my truck.
Whew. That's weird.
That existential dread you feel when you sense you're in a dangerous situation and you need to get the out of there in a hurry.
Yeah.
I was walking closer to him and I distinctly remember getting goosebumps because of the bad energy around this guy. This guy's definitely white. Nunya is white.
My whole body just did a pylo erection and it wasn't even auto. Dude, I didn't even do it. It just happened.
Didn't like what he just said here.
I didn't like what he just said. That was weird.
It was just so thick in the air, like I was wading waist deep in water. Whoa. I finally reached him, and the dude smelled bad, like bad, like rotting eggs and cheap cigarettes.
Rotting eggs, sulfur.
He said he was like dressed sort of normally, but in clothes that kind of baggy on him.
A little ill-fitting, yeah, a little ill-fitting on the clothing. And what he's describing there is that smell, that sulfuric smell is often accompanied with like cryptid sightings,
portals,
alien grays, portals, all kinds of shit like that. Paranormal, supernatural does have a smell, and it smells like rotten eggs. I hear that a lot. In fact, my schizophrenic aunt would describe the devil as smelling that way when he would show up to talk to her.
Damn.
Yeah.
So he says the look on his face was uncanny. His eyes were so lifeless and what I can best describe as predatory. I don't possess the vocabulary or articulation skills to be able to describe to you what this guy's eyes look like, but they looked humanoid, not human. They were blue, but they look like those cheap colored contact lenses that people wear on Halloween. Yeah. Like you can tell that there's something behind it, and it's just like a cover.
Yeah, I never liked that, by the way. Like especially chicks that did that. Like wearing colored contacts.
I used to wear colored contacts.
Did you? So dumb, bro.
Yeah,
just be brown. You're brown. You got brown. You just be brown.
I had like hazel colored ones.
Yeah,
people thought
not
that
everybody
was
can
like
be
my
like
real
me,
eyes.
dude. Not everybody can have central heterochromia. Nobody can. Not I get it, but.
Oh, the bitches loved it, but all right. Something about the symmetry of this dude's face was off as well. His eyes and face were making the uncanny valley alarms go off in my head like a tornado siren. He handed me his fishing license, and I halfway checked it. I was paying more attention to this dude's body language to see if he was about to attack me. I did notice his license had been expired for several years at that point. When I gave him his card back, I let him know I wouldn't be writing a ticket, but he needs to
because I was afraid he was gonna murder me.
Yeah, but he needs to pick it up next time before he comes out, and he needed to stop fishing because his license was expired. He smiled after I told him this, and his smile was off too. When he smiled, it was just a little too big, and it showed just a little too much of his teeth, which were yellow and a little too long to be normal human teeth. Just enough to set the uncanny valley alarms off again in my head. I wonder if he smiled like with just his mouth, like a Mr. Beast kind of smile.
Oh yeah, like does he smile? Does he smize? Which is I think what's that? Tyra Banks used to call it smizing, which is when you smile and you got to do it with your eyes too. I don't know how to do that.
I watched the video.
Find?
Yeah.
On this show, if you watch my facial expressions, sometimes I look like that meme of the old dude who's smiling, but there's pain in his eyes, and he's like raising his coffee glass, and he's at a desktop computer. You know what I'm talking about? That like classic meme.
Yeah.
I feel like I look like that a lot. I do that.
Oh yeah, just like pain in your eyes smile.
Yeah, and I don't have pain inside, but I recognize like sometimes I'll see a clip and I'm like, I look like I'm hurting inside. It's very strange.
I'm gonna send a meme of myself that somebody made of me, and I was like, damn, it's almost unavoidable. Like this is what I look. This is actually what my dad looks like. Here, I'm gonna pull it up right now. 1 second.
Is it a Somalian meme? Because you're getting hit with those Somalian memes a lot.
Oh yeah, no, those are rough. This one here.
They look good though. Yeah. I look like that guy. That looks like your dad. That's very funny.
Yeah, but it looks like me too. I'm like, damn, that's hurtful.
Yeah, but I look like that dude, except without your face on it. Like I just look like that. It happens a lot. It's strange. Oh yeah, Jack Bonson says Raven looks like the guy from Better Call Saul, Lalo. If you guys look that up, that he looks like I can't even say he looks like my dad. He looks like he's me. We look the same. It looks 100%.
That dude was a legitimate psychopath. Perfect.
I didn't watch Better Call Saul. I really enjoyed Breaking Bad. Like I watched it through maybe 3 or 4 times. It's one of my favorite shows for a long time, but Better Call Saul, I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get into it.
Oh, question for David. Should I go on government assistance and start streaming? I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Follow your dreams.
If you're a single dude and you're like, I want to stream, and you don't have like a wife and kids, like, yeah, dog, quit your job.
Yeah. Why the not? All right.
It's good and that is financial advice.
So call my lawyer. His facial structure was probably the most remarkable part of the encounter. It was as if his skin was too tight and papery. It was normal color for an old white man, but his skin looked like how women's skin look when they put way too much makeup on. Very flat colored, dry, and papery is the only way to describe it. Yeah, that's weird, man. Yo, did I tell you about the cat lady I saw at Winn-Dixie the other day?
What, like a plastic surgery face?
Oh yeah, plastic, like crazy plastic surgery face. I'm like, it's rare that you run into somebody like that in real life. You see a lot of pictures, but when I saw her, I was like, oh my God. Like they even made her snout protrude.
Her snout,
like, because her lips were so big that it, like, you know how the cat's face comes this way? Same shit. I was like, Nephilim. Very weird.
I don't know. I can't get I have like young nieces that are working at a doctor's office somewhere, and in that doctor's office they started doing like injections, like lipo and everything, and they're kids, man. I mean, they're like maybe 20, 21, and now they're going off and getting filler, and I'm like, you dummies, you're gonna your face up. That is not going to develop naturally as your face develops. It's going to remain the same. Your face is going to develop around it, and you're going to look like a psychopath. Like, damn it, dude. Stop. The ability to convince women to inject into their faces.
When they're talking about like cosmetics, like makeup is just the tip of the spear of what Azazel gave humans. Like they were probably doing Botox back in the day because it's horrific. It's literal Nephilim. When I see them, I'm
not good. Not good. Big monster face or big cat face.
So the man said, "Thank you for not giving me a ticket, officer. I ain't seen one of y'all in years. It's nice to see y'all still out here protecting the forest." And proceeded to smile and chuckle with that same smile from before, but his eyes didn't squint this time when he smiled.
There goes. Yep. Good question. You asked that only a moment ago.
Yeah, they seem locked on my eyes, like a tiger gets locked onto its prey. Not good.
That is really weird, man.
Yep. At this point, I had backed up to create about 6 to 10 feet of space between us because every fiber of my being was screaming at me to get the away from this dude. He got his pole and extended his hand to shake mine, and yet again, the alarm bells in my head were going off. His fingers were skinny, bony, a little bit too long to be normal. The hand was also completely white, like how a dead person's hands are white in a casket at a funeral. No pigment other than the pale color of a dead body. Yeah, dude, you might have ran into some like a cadaver kind of thing, like a reanimated corpse is what he's describing. The way it turns around is crazy.
Dude, what he goes on to say next is like he saved his own ass with this move here.
So thankfully it was around COVID lockdown time, and I said, I can't shake anyone's hand, brother. Can't get sick with the wife and kids at home. Sorry. You're probably vaccinated too, bro. Yeah.
No, I mean he didn't want to shake his hand. You know what I mean?
Shake his hand, bro. COVID,
no, you can't
COVID's
shake
not
his
real.
hand. Remember, Merkel is stumbling on something right now about like the shaking of a hand or like hugs. Like these individuals want to. I actually saw a video of a dude in the streets of like New Orleans that is desperately trying to shake he needs to touch your hand.
Yeah.
And people were speculating that he's trying to pass something on, and the dude is getting frustrated because the guy that he's talking to won't touch his hand, and it springs this whole conversation about like what a person can transfer via touch, like a handshake or a hug.
It actually does.
Dude was right.
This gives you a good out anywhere. You could just be like, I'm a COVID freak, like don't touch me. But
yeah,
it's good advice. The first church that I went to, it had it was a female pastor that my mom, found this church. Well, she didn't find it. Like it was like a staple in the neighborhood, and the female pastor's father owned it before, and he was like, I mean, this dude was the real deal. He was this white dude just ministering to this old neighborhood, and he was like moving. He was moving this neighborhood. He died. His daughter took it over, and she was like, I wish we could talk to her, but she just died recently. She was like one of these people that were like deep into this spiritual battle stuff. She probably would have knocked our socks off with some of the stuff that she would tell us. But she told me one time very seriously, and this like she would dress in all the time. She was very like white lady with like dark hair, but she was about God. She wasn't like into witchcraft, and she told me, she's like, look at me, like promise me this. If anybody ever goes to lay hands on you, look them in the eyes. Because she told me that I had a good gift of discernment. This lady said, look them in the eyes and don't let strangers touch you. Like especially to pray, because that will happen in the church all the time. Like they'll call you up for an altar call, and they have their ordained people that are supposed to go up and pray for you. But sometimes you'll see other people go up from the congregation and they'll go behind you and touch your back and then start praying on you. You don't know them. She's like, never let that happen. And I was like, okay, whatever. But now, like years later, I'm like, yeah, don't let that happen.
Well, I was reading something here. It's like there are belief systems where curses and such can be transferred through.
Probably a good idea. I never go up for altar calls. Star Crimes says.
Interesting.
Yeah, something
shout
about
out
it.
To Joe Gallo, who says, I had to stop listening to your half-ass shows. Half-ass, that's y'all, but then is here listening to our.
What is this? This is a half-ass comment. What the f are you talking about, Joe?
I think he had a stroke.
Retype it.
Pray for
we'll come back.
Pray for Joe. Stop
Pray
doing
for
it,
Joe,
please. Okay, let's finish Nunya because wow.
Arizona says, if you have the Holy Spirit, that's not a problem. I still wouldn't mess with it. Don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna risk
touch
it.
me. Yeah.
Don't fucking touch me.
Because I don't know what they're gonna put on you someday. I mean, listen, at the very least, like,
let you get close to me.
Can't let you get close. Yeah, I know they try to. You gotta have good takedown defense, but just don't let them. Why would I want to fight a fight that's not necessary? Like if I can just keep you over there, I got a lot of shit going on, to be honest, and I don't need your demons. You know?
Yes. I don't need your demons. I probably have some ones that have been trailing me since I was born.
Yeah, I already got my own demons. I got my ancestral demons. I don't need your demons. Don't touch me. So all right, he uses COVID as a excuse, like a fag.
I like it. That's a smart move.
It is smart. It's especially like off the cuff. Like if he just off the cuff did that, because you don't want to tell this guy like don't touch me, and then things get weird, you know. So
yeah, and his eyes are locked onto you like a tiger. I wonder, did he say that his pupils? Yeah, wait. I wonder if he said his pupils are big, because whenever he said locked onto me like a tiger locks onto his prey. And I think about the way cats, their eyes get big. And that's it. If you look at a cat's pupil, you can actually predict the moment they're about to pounce.
Yeah. It'll
because
get real
it lights
big
up until it's super big. And then that's when it's about to happen.
Yeah, they're seeing everything. So yeah, I can't get sick. Sorry. As I backed up further while facing him, his smile faded a bit, and I saw a tinge of anger replace a smile he once had. I kid you not, this was like Kenneth Copeland and that clip of him talking about people on planes being demons.
Wow.
Yep.
That clip is one that I refer to. My wife and I were talking yesterday about people who get drunk and then become different people, because we're going on a cruise soon, and I had like a half a shot of vodka in like pickle juice, and and you know, I didn't drink anything else besides that half a shot, because half of it was pickle juice, half of it was vodka. But I did notice, I was like, damn, I can feel that. Like, that's how long it's been since I've drank. And then we got into this conversation about when people drink and they become other people. And that is really weird. I've known people very personally that were close friends of mine, where you look in their eyes and they are a different person. That is not the same person that you know anymore.
There's one dude, well, my friend, his name is Michael. Actually, he lived right next to me in that house that I showed you. His parents lived there. It was like pretty much, he lived one house away. We were all connected. But we would go out to the bars, and especially when we were younger. And he's younger than me. Also a very good baseball player. But yeah, when we go out and drink, we'd ask him, be like, yo, is Mikhail coming out? Because like Mikhail was like, he would tell you. He's like, yo, Mikhail is out tonight. Like and you'll look at him and he'll have like those shark eyes. And I'm like, oh, shark Mikhail's eyes. Out. Mikhail is fun though. Very fun dude, but not Michael.
the other ones that I knew, their alters, like their alternate personality, whatever takes over them, was not fun. Violent, disruptive, just piece of kind of thing. Whenever I drink, nothing comes out of me but sleepiness. I just go.
He would Mikhail was like horny, super horny dude. And Mike was a very good looking guy. So like we go out to the club, Mikhail's coming out, like, you know, that we're about to talk to a lot of bitches we're going to talk to. Yeah. That was back in the day. But actually, look at the time.
Oh my God, the pores. Ew.
How could I forget? Nobody reminded us.
No, nobody did remind us. Usually the Patreon members squeal in displeasure at the idea of the pores being able to hang around. They didn't do it this time, but we're still going to clean up all the trash.
Hey, Joe.
Joe, you're included.
You got to go.
Gotta go, Joe. Oh, maybe that's what he means. He thinks all of our shows are half-assed because he only gets to see half of them because he's poor.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... listen, $5? Actually, people have been signing up at... they've been signing up for a year. I didn't even know you could do that. It's like $50 for a year or $51.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, damn, motherfuckers are signing up for quite a bit. I mean, there's more than a year's worth of content on it.
And it's they're getting a pretty good discount on it, too. I'm kind of like, maybe we should not make that available.
Yeah, don't offer that anymore.
No, I like that.
If you guys want to continue... Where's Joe? Don't offer that anymore. Joe, if you want to continue enjoying this half-ass show, go on over to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Sign up for what the ever. I don't care what you sign up for. Sign up for the free one, Joe. You're broke. And continue enjoying the episode, engaging in the live chat, and enjoying an ad-free experience. Otherwise, goodbye, poor people. You disgust me.
Goodbye. All right, we're going to kick them out, so we just got to give it a second as we kick them out.
Ugh, disgusting.
Yeah,
Marnie Mac says, I was poor once, so I feel for them. But now you're rich. You're Patreon rich, Marnie. Don't ever look back and feel.
I'm not gay no more.
I will marry a woman.
All right, they're gone. Thank God. We could be ourselves now.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Take off your shirts.
So the Kenneth Copeland is what he's talking about. He paused and stared at me with that look for like 10 seconds with the slightest bit of rage in his eyes. Then he smiled the biggest smile and said, of course, and began to walk towards the woods. Not even toward the road. He got about 20 yards away, stopped, looked over his right shoulder, smiled again and said, have a good night, young man. That's no, I don't like that.
Good night, young man.
I hope this dude has I'm sure he has a gun. I'm sure they because they're like, what are they, park rangers? They probably carry.
Well, actually, if he's in Appalachia, I don't know if park rangers have guns. National Forest Rangers, I don't know if they have guns either. I do want to say something real quick, though. Yannette is in the chat. She said, I got out of the slums for NDS. Yannette has been somebody who's been a Patreon supporter for a long time. And I want you guys to know the invisible battles that I fight on your behalf. I'm talking about the Patreon members. It was like 3 or 4 instances in the past 2 days where I know an account follows us on Patreon and I watched somebody say something negative to them, and I went to the people. So Yannette, I guess, is a basketball enjoyer, which is, that's a shame. But you know, she's brown and that's fine. So she's talking about sports and it comes up on my thing, and there it goes. And I see somebody say something negative to her about her take on basketball. I don't even care about basketball. I typed up a whole diatribe like, listen here, you. And then I was like, wait a second. What am I doing? And I had to delete it. That was like the 3rd or 4th time that's happened this week. I don't like when people talk about our disgusting Patreon members.
That's actually a tier of Patreon perk. We will defend you.
We will defend you.
We should. Honestly, we should. Like, if you have a Twitter and you're a Patreon user, I follow you. Let me know. I just don't know who's who. Like, we'll follow you back and defend you sometimes if we have time.
And defend you sometimes, yeah. I don't know what her take. I don't know if it was a good take or a bad take because I don't understand basketball, but I just did not like that somebody was talking about our disgusting Patreon members. That is not, it's our job. If anybody does that, that's us, right?
Yes.
And so that was the spirit of it, and I had to delete it. It happened again. I forgot who it was. It was somebody that's always in the chat, and I almost went to bat again, and I was like, I gotta stop. There's no reason, because you know, it's not that I didn't want to take on a fight. It's that I didn't want to take on another fight because I just find myself shooting everybody in the face on Twitter. I'm like,
a lot of fun.
Another one right now. It is a lot of fun, though. It is a lot of fun. JJ says, is that the same tier that gives you telekinesis? It's telepathy, you piece of shit.
What tier should it be? It should be like a $10 tier.
We'll defend you. What tier is it so that we'll defend you?
We'll defend your honor at the $10 tier.
Oh my God. Yeah. $10 in, you get, we will defend your honor. That's so funny. That's so funny, dude. $10 and we will defend your honor. Oh my God. Only on Twitter, though. Or not doing it on Instagram.
Yeah, nowhere else. I mean, like a couple of memes. Let's not get crazy.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah, a couple of memes. I got some bangers that I'll back you up with.
I waited there frozen until I couldn't hear the crunching of the leaves anymore. I then sprinted back to my truck and sped off. Genuinely have no idea what that guy was, but something deep in my heart told me he wasn't human. He was something more ancient, something that's been here longer than we've been here, and I felt in my heart that if I shook that guy's hand, something really bad would have happened. It feels like that dude's license was expired. I wonder if you can go back and he probably doesn't remember his name or the
I was thinking that. I was like, did you look at that card? Did you get his name? Like, I'd have, but I mean, if you're too busy worrying about getting stabbed.
I know he probably just like held the card like there, but was looking at the guy the whole time. Because if you knew his name, you could see if he renewed, and you could see. I don't think this dude renewed his license. It seems like the dude's been dead for a while, got reanimated, and just is fishing over there, and maybe looking for a new.
You know
host.
what I love? I love the idea that some sort of greasy demonic entity would inhabit a dead body, and then would be like, and I forgot to renew my license. Like that's very funny. That even they have to suffer that. Every time I look at my license and I see the expiration date, I get furious. Why should this thing expire? You.
Well, it should expire. It should expire in case you die in the woods somewhere, get overtaken by a demon. And that's like, honestly, I'm for it now. I understand the rules.
Yeah, so because how else are you going to identify a demon?
The government's decided every 7 years, it was like, this guy could die in the forest, get overtaken by a demon. Yeah. And nobody knows. This guy's going to be
honestly, if
fishing?
that dude shook his hand, that could have been a David Paulides missing 411 case.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe he would have just like latched onto him. You know, imagine he shook his hand. The guy just dies like a bag of bones there, and like whatever was in him is like now it's on you.
Oh my God, bro! Even if you didn't feel it, you'd draw that conclusion pretty quickly. You'd be like, I didn't feel it, but it's whatever it is in me now. That
thing's on me right now, dog.
Got it on me. Get it off me.
All right, let's see. So yeah, yeah. If you
Possible
shook that
evidence
guy's
of
hand,
witchcraft.
possible evidence of witchcraft? Question mark. I guess we're in a new section.
Yes,
Here's a
and this
couple
is
of
probably
short
where those
stories.
pictures come into play.
Yeah, yeah. Just because I like y'all, he keeps flirting with us. It's nice.
I love this guy.
As a fish and wildlife officer, you have to be comfortable being miles into the woods alone at any time of the day. I would constantly find myself scaling hollers 3+ miles into the mountain forest all by myself looking for poachers. What a crazy job, right?
It's kind
You
of
could
cool.
technically do nothing.
You could technically do nothing, but also if you do engage in it, then it's like every day is an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
pretty
cool.
cool.
As fuck. I like that.
This one day in the early spring, I poorly timed my outing looking for a guy hunting turkeys near the Great Smoky Mountain National Park without permission on someone else's land. So I guess you must you get tipped off, and that's how this. These guys I went deer hunting, and there's if you're going on public land, you have to park in the public spot, and you got to pay. And I didn't mind paying, but there was no public spot. So I had to park across the street. There was somebody that we knew, like my friend knew, and we parked in their driveway, down the road, and then we walked across. We set up. We actually made a kill. When we came back, we had the deer with us. The cops or the rangers took our because they were like, you were illegally parked. You had to have been parked here and paid here. I was like, but there was no spots, so I couldn't even pay you. And they took my. And I guess they donated. Yeah, there's a lot of weird rules. I understand why they do it because people they can get crazy with it. But yeah, I was like, come on, we're but whatever.
That's gay.
Some of these guys are
for a parking job. It's not like you were out there without tags and.
These guys are really the only kind of cops that I'm like, all right, I with because they somehow they keep the game and wildlife management manageable. They keep the sick animals.
They're
cold.
the number one funding for animal wildlife conservation comes from the hunting and wildlife and fishing and game.
Well, it's most of the taxes come from ammo sales, gun sales. There's a tax on that, and that goes directly to these guys, and then they preserve, and they do a pretty decent job. But I don't know about other states, but and it depends on who you're dealing with. Anyway, he went 2 or so miles into the woods looking for this dude, but all he found was a doll in a decaying tree. Creeped me out. Let's actually pull that up.
Yeah, we pull that image of the doll in the decaying tree up. Do you have it? I think I might have it.
I got it right here. Hold on one sec. Where did I?
This is just the doll.
You have it?
No, I thought you said you had it. I got it.
Yeah, what's the name of this dude? Nunya. There we go. We got it. The doll. Looking crazy.
Federal agent says the fish and game people in Cali are essentially police officers because of all the cartel activity. Yeah, because they're out in the woods doing operations and such.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit that goes on out there. That's why I'm like, when you're targeting me for a technicality, I'm like, there's a lot of shit going on out here. Maybe not upstate New York, but I don't know, whatever. This is a doll decaying in the tree.
Is 2 miles or so into the woods is where he found this.
Don't like that.
No, that's weird. That's very weird. It reminds me of that time I found that jar full of a chunk of flesh in the woods.
Yeah, I remember that story. Okay, let's continue.
Not a good sign.
Not a good sign. Creeped me out big time since I was so far out where people haven't been for decades. So here's the picture. There were other unremarkable objects scattered on the ground and hanging in the trees, like old beer bottles and junk. Yeah, I mean, that'll do it.
I mean, it's not out of the question for people to go deep into the woods and get shit-faced.
Yeah.
We would walk into the woods in New Jersey sometimes, and you would be surprised how deep you were into the woods, and you'd come across a garbage bag filled with beer cans.
Yeah. So I figured teenagers were doing crap to pass the time a long time ago. I kept looking and eventually found where he was setting up, so I marked it on my map to come back the next morning. It was around 6 or 7 p.m. at this point, and the sun was well below the tree line, getting dark. I was in a predicament because I looked around me and I was at least 3 miles away from my truck. Bad idea. Using the flashlight on my belt wasn't an option because if I used it to get out, people will be able to see the light on the treetops, pretty much telegraphing I was there. So I had to go purely by moonlight and memory back to my truck. As I was walking back in complete darkness and quiet, I know it's sick though, man. When you're out there, you got to really make sure you're using your time correctly. Because if you're like,
I had it happen one time where I did get lost in the woods. Not lost. I guess I don't remember if I was lost, but I was in the woods. I was deep in the woods, and I was with a couple other people. But the sun set, and our phones didn't do. Like it was just like it was so impossibly dark that night. And that was really scary because it got to the point where like I simply couldn't see. I could hear my homies and we were talking to each other and trying to stay close and trying to find our way out, but you couldn't see. It was horrifying.
Man. So here we go. Boom, boom, boom. So he's going back by memory. And as I was walking back in complete darkness and quiet, I heard someone yelling from back down the holler at me from the little mountain stream about 30 yards away. I froze and thought I got caught. I waited behind an oak tree to hide and heard it again. It was a woman, but she was calling my name. Yeah, no thanks. She's like, Nunya!
Fuck you.
None of your business. Sent chills down my spine because there's absolutely no way someone this far out in the woods was looking for me. I started quietly trying to get away as fast as possible because something told me it wasn't good, whatever that was calling my name. It's funny how like you think like old abandoned buildings in a city is like where you're going to get, or like old houses in a town is where you're going to get some of this poltergeist. But the forest is probably more likely.
And that mimic shit, like that kind of, I'm thinking of a mimic only because you hear so many stories of people in the woods on a camping trip, and then they hear their friend calling them from the woods, only to find out later on that like their friend was not in the woods calling them. But yeah, calling their name, calling for help, that happens. I hear those stories a lot. Things calling to you from the woods. No good.
This is like an elemental. This is actually on the latest Merkel episode. It's a really good one. That guy, Daniel Duval, I think he's a pastor, but he goes everywhere with this. You got to listen to it. It's 4 hours. And
is it a members episode? I think I might have been listening.
No, it's a free one. It's a free one. It's on Tuesday. It came out Tuesday. So he's talking about elementals and what they are. And, you know, you see the shit in like kids movies, but like fire.
Yeah, this is where
water.
They're talking about the second heaven, right?
Yeah, that's the episode, but it goes everywhere. And the elemental stuff is great because he like even equates it back to God. God's like he's like a living fire. He's the cleansing water. He's the wind. He's the, you know, in the clouds like that. Like he's the rock. So he's all these elementals, but there are other elementals that are in control of certain parts of the earth. Do they obey God or do they do their own thing is the question. You know, are they like, have they gone rogue? Yeah, it's kind of cool to consider. All right, so here we go. I froze and thought, shit, I got caught, waited behind a tree. So it sent chills down his spine. No one should be looking for him that far out. I eventually made my way out by memory and I never went back there. Didn't give a shit about the turkey hunter, whoever or whatever called my name. It scared the shit out of me. Not only due to the circumstances that I heard it in, but because I've heard my name being called from creeks and rivers my whole life by the same sounding voice.
Fuck that.
Yep, I've always had the same existential dread when hearing it, and that time especially was no different.
It's interesting that he specifies creeks and rivers because there is something about running water and its ability to like carry something or to be a threshold that you cross over into a portal. So sometimes these people will end up in some weird section of the woods where it feels like they've, you know, dimensionally slipped. They're in an upside down or something like that. And they'll often recall that the way they got there was crossing a stream or a river, crossing a body of water. And then that was the catalyst.
Yeah. All right. He has one more story here. So it's called The Squirrel.
Squirrel. Should we? Well, let's let him say it, and then we'll show the squirrel.
Actually,
hey guys, just a little heads up: the squirrel's a little bit graphic. If you're not into, you know, it's in the fashion of finding something in the woods, right? But it is graphic. It is a little gruesome. So if you're not interested in that, I would recommend not watching when we say we're bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna 1 second. Let me. No, I don't want to. I don't know how to do this.
We don't want to surprise them with squirrel gore.
Squirrel gore.
That's
my
hard to
favorite kind
say.
of gore.
Squirrel gore.
Squirrel gore. All right, you know what? We'll just pull up this squirrel so people can see it.
Another word I have trouble with is Marlboro, like the cigarettes, Marlboro.
Marlboro. I don't think you say the L. The L is silent.
Marlboro.
All right. I'm always finding satanic in the woods looking for poachers, like pentagrams in abandoned houses and animals butchered on the ground, untouched by scavengers. This is one instance I actually took pictures of. I found a squirrel on the ground, no scavengers in sight, but I did find more stuff hanging in trees like bottles and clothes. But this instance stuck out to me due to the squirrel. It was missing its jaw and one of its front legs. Here's a squirrel, guys.
Let's see that squirrel. This is a wild picture, though, because I don't know how old that squirrel is. It looks relatively fresh, right? Because it doesn't look like bloated yet. Sometimes when an animal dies, it'll go through different phases, and one of those phases is bloating. It's not there yet, so that's worth noting. This happened relatively recently, I guess. And what animal removes the jaw of another animal and the arm, but then doesn't eat it? This is the bottle that he's talking about, finding beer bottles and on the branches.
This is the squirrel. It's missing its front left leg and its entire bottom jaw. Very weird.
So something ripped it off, but then nothing saw fit to eat it afterwards. There's no scavengers, like he's saying. That would draw at some point during the decomposition process. It would draw in turkey vultures.
Something would eat that. That was it. Nothing else wrong with it. No bullet holes, nothing broken, just missing its bottom jaw, one leg, and dead on the ground. At this point in my career, I wasn't trying to fuck around with any kind of satanic stuff, so I just left. Smart.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. There's weird things going on in the mountains of Appalachia, fellas. Stuff that no one ever thinks about or realizes is going on. I think people are summoning things that shouldn't be summoned. Thanks again for reading my stuff. Sorry it was long-winded this time.
Sorry we made it 3 times longer.
Yeah. It's been a 50-minute, an hour-long story, but it was very good. And he says, through Jesus Christ, I'll continue to pray for y'all's success, health, and y'all's family, as well as everyone listening. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Please pray for Xerox.
Xerox, yeah, he needs your prayers. You know what? I've come to the conclusion that I think people must be praying for us, because the way things happen on this show and the way it's developed and the success that we're finding is like, it's just uncanny. I'm like, something is happening. Somebody's pulling for us. It feels. If you are one of those people that are pulling for us, thank you very much.
There's probably people pulling for us and people pulling against us. But yeah, the people who are pulling,
and then
for
there's
us,
Xerox, who's just pulling and pulling.
Yanking on his yanking on his.
You're gonna tear that thing off, dude.
Yeah, you'd be better off just ripping it off. To be honest, it's at this point, what are you really using it for?
It's just pulling. You're just pulling stuff.
Just pulling, just having fun. All right, whatever floats your boat, Xerox. Whatever.
Thank you, Nunya. This is fascinating. That was a really fascinating story. There's a lot of details in there that are really fun. That old man, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that was crazy. All right, let's move on to we have I guess this will be like a follow-up episode with people who have wrote already. So
there's another part of Nunya's, isn't there? Oh no, I'm sorry.
No,
there's another part of THC. Ben.
Yeah. This is the follow up for THC Pastor. Let me see. Is this a duplicate? Yeah, I guess.
I see. There's 2 that are totally different. Which ones? If we had our pan-faced gook employee, we could probably parse some of this out. But she is MIA.
She decided to not show up. It's fine. She'll catch the replay and then
wherever she is, it must be more important than.
Like, oh my God, I was here the whole time. I forgot.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh! I bring dishonor to my friend.
Commit seppuku. Oh no!
This actually looks like the same story that's shared here twice. So, yeah. Actually, I'm not even sure. First
Docker
off,
Pay.
Racist.
Docker Pay. Go into the thing right now. Tell our accountant to Docker Pay.
Oh yeah, you're docked. Okay. Howdy guys, and Nancy, I assume. Nope, Nancy's not here, Pastor Ben.
Which one did you click on?
I'm gonna share the link with you right now, so that way you could.
Oh no, I found it.
Okay, you found it. Did the same thing, I guess. Yep, you're in here. So howdy guys and Nancy. No, Ben, Nancy's not here, but thank you for writing back to us. Ben THC here, Pastor Ben, or just Ben. We've thoroughly doxed you. Ben is the guy that was working on the THC experimental inhaler, and then went on a walk I guess was he high when he went on the walk and like met a homeless dude that walked with him for miles.
Yeah. That guy
just like-
seemed cool. That guy seemed cool because that was a guy that was like, he was all those things you just talk about. Somebody wants to pray for you. Somebody wants to lay hands on you. But I remember that homeless guy saying a bunch of the right things that to me indicated like, no, he's God's compelling him.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that guy.
Yeah.
He probably smelled, but
Yeah.
seemed nice. So Ben continues. I wanted to respond after hearing my personal testimony read on Chronicles, and he put Chronicles with a little asterisk. It's kind of cool. Like this is its own show. We should really do better branding.
We
on
should,
this.
but it's like it's so much. And who does the branding? You do the branding. So it's like really what you're saying is I should make more graphic art and make more. You know what I mean? It's just like, man.
But I have racist T-shirts to make, so
that's right. And they're not
No
going to. Those
time.
racist T-shirts aren't going to make themselves.
no, certainly not. First off, what am I doing listening to you racist a-holes? And even being a Patreon subscriber, shout out to Ben Will Defend You on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what tier he's at, but yeah.
Yeah. $5 more, you probably at the whatever. I ask myself that every day. But seriously, I've come to believe God has a sense of humor. He certainly does. I don't know if it's our sense of humor, but yes, God's hilarious. The entire Bible's hilarious. The way he deals with people is we were talking this morning. I was in Petco and we were talking about the Jews. And
Yeah.
it's really funny when we're like I don't know, Ben what's his name? Dustin, he's the guy that's a Nephilim expert. Not us.
Pretty sure he's the Nephilim expert, right?
Yeah. He's like, these aren't the real Jews. Jesus was white from where Ireland or some shit like that. And a lot of people say that too, but I'm like, I don't want to believe that these guys are God's chosen people because they just suck so bad. But when you read the stories of the Bible, you're like, these guys really suck.
Yeah.
There's some of them that are great.
That's I want to read my tweet real quick, but that's the conclusion that I came to because I've been saying a lot of that, like, it's spiritual warfare. This goes beyond the flesh, and you think the buck stops at the Jews, but it doesn't. And then I started to learn more about the Bible, and I'm like, maybe I don't know. So this is the thing that I said. I said I will often ask myself if the Jews of today are the Jews of the Bible. The more I learn about the Bible, the more I see the same patterns of behavior. Even if I said this is a spiritual battle and the fallen are deceiving us, I'd still have to wrestle with the fact that they repeatedly took up false idols despite witnessing miracles. Now in 2025, when I see the presence of fallen worship in the upper echelons of the world, in conjunction with the overrepresentation of Jews in positions of power, it seems fairly obvious that the Bible was right. And then I said, if it walks like a duck. So it's like, I'm wondering if these are the same Jews of the Bible, and I'm getting caught up in like genetics and lineage and da-da-da-da-da. But then I look at their behavior and I'm like, oh, this might be the Jews. They might be the Jews of the Bible because they're really dumb. Like they just keep, it's like, I know God sends strong delusions to people who deny the truth. So the denial of the coming of Christ, the denial of Christ being the Messiah seems to have begotten the craziest delusion ever. But even before that, it was like, Moses, you can see rivers turn to blood, firstborn sons die, plagues, a river, the sea splitting, the freedom of your people from, indentured servitude. And you could still go and worship the golden calf. Like, man. And then when you look at that behavior and you look at what's happening right now, I'm like, it's the same. Maybe they are. Maybe I was quick in my judgment.
Maybe I was too hasty in my judgment. Yes,
hasty.
you do. You are the chosen people. And honestly, it's a curse. You suck. I don't know why people want to be Jews so bad. I don't know why Dustin Nemos wants the white people to be Jews so bad. You guys have the worst lot in prophecy. You're going to be left behind. You're going to have to deal with all this stuff. Maybe you get taken up in the final rapture if there are 3. Shout out Ed Mabry. I don't want to be you. You guys suck. Like your entire life, you have to wrap leather around your arm and put a cube on your head to do what? You're hanging fish wire to trick God. It's a sad existence. And I think, it is you guys. But then there also is a question about, well, what is it? That is still a very good question because you guys have obfuscated what it is. And it's the whole thing's very confusing, but
like is this the line of Abraham? Like I don't know, but I just thought that was, if it's like if you can tell by their fruits and you look what are they doing? It's like the exact same. So even when you learn that God's chosen people in the Bible, well, the Bible then doesn't go on to say, and they crush, dude. It's like, these are God's chosen people, and they suck, dude. And I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, okay.
Even Jesus came down. Like, Jesus is like the best guy in the world, and he was like, you guys suck.
Yeah.
Like, really bad.
It's interesting. It's interesting to be chosen and to suck ass. It's like
horrible.
Weird. That's a fascinating place to be. I don't know. All right, let's get back into Pastor Ben, who can't figure out why he listens to racist.
He says, God has a sense of humor, and that malice spoken from the heart is a real sin. That's not what you guys do. I actually find your journey of faith inspiring, especially when Ed Mayberry, is on. It's like listening to first graders learning the gospel for the first time. And I mean that in the best way. After all, it's called a walk for a reason. We're all at different points in our journey, and I'm not the Holy Spirit. It's his job to convict, not mine.
Did we read this? No, we didn't read this. I read this, and I was like, oh, okay, keep going.
You read this I think I might have read this as well when it first came in, because I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
He's talking to me. So regarding the Pentecostal stuff, I was raised in a Foursquare gospel church right in the area where that movement started. Amy McPherson, a fascinating figure, full of scandal. The Azusa Street revival, the rise of speaking in tongues as a practice. I've seen a lot. I've seen some too. I also saw many false Christians, people claiming Christ while living completely in unchrist-like ways. That disillusionment made me focus more on the people than the gospel itself. Yes. And it same thing here. It also made me draw away from the church, which is not the gospel itself either. So like just varying levels away from what you're supposed to be looking at.
To that point though, of like people that claim to be living in Christ and are not the case, I wouldn't say, I don't know enough, I'm still learning very much. And as far as like living completely unchrist-like ways, I immediately look to my own life, like, well, what am I doing? And it's like, I've stressed this ad nauseum on this show. I live a very simple life. I'm just concerned with like raising my son, being a good husband, and then just kind of hanging out and watching some, reading some. I don't go out. I don't go to bars. I don't do this thing. I'll drink every once in a while, but yeah, I don't know, because that gets leveraged very often against me for the wild that I say on Twitter. And of course, I have to consider like, well, how does this wild that I say on Twitter fall into things? It's a tightrope. I'm saying these things because I believe it's the truth, and I should be able to say this, and you can't compel my speech, yada yada. But then I'm sure I lean on that to some degree to say really wild, and then go, well, you can't tell me what to say, So I know in those ways I probably slip up, but honestly. Other than that, I don't really know where I'm up massively. I don't think I am. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. So he goes, I'm willing to speculate on topics like Ed Mabry. The Bible doesn't spell out clearly. I've read many apocryphal books in my pursuit of faith. Subjects like the synagogue of Satan. Who really are the Jews, and who are those that say that they are but are not? The origins of possession and demons in line with the Book of Enoch, unclean spirits and disembodied Nephilim, and demons as fallen angels with form. Even Jerry Marzinski's views, who we have to reach out to again,
yes,
on mental health, all resonate with me. In my work at a homeless shelter, I've seen much of what he describes, and these are aspects of the modern church often neglects. Yeah, I agree. These are things we see all the time.
Yeah.
I also share your aversion to corporate or establishment churches. The true church is made up of those called by his name, not a building or denomination. Recently, I sent in another story from my pre-Christ ways about my experiences with abduction, C5, binaural beats, and meditation. Did we miss that?
I think that's the smaller one. There's two of them, and one of them seems shorter. I know I read one of them from him, and I actually want to thank him. I want to thank Pastor Ben, because the way it came in was very uncanny. I was asking God that this is when I was speculating, like, is remote viewing or astral projection, is it a natural capability that we can all do? And is it one of those things where what you do with it determines whether or not it's bad? And so I was thinking, like, how do I do it? And it felt like I was spoken to in a way where it was like, all of a sudden I was hit with binaural beats, dumbass. Like, that's how you do it. You have to sync these hemispheres of your brain. And so I went, oh, okay. I'm sure I can find binaural beats online, but that didn't quite give me my answer. The question was, is this bad to do? And I got the answer for how do you do it pretty quickly. The answer, is it bad to do, came a little bit later, and it came from Pastor Ben. And I was just like, I don't read these stories before they come in before we read them on air. I was compelled to read this one. It was maybe the only one out of like 100 of these things that we've gotten that I decided to read preemptively, and it gave me my answer. I don't want to spoil it, but I want to thank Pastor Ben, because when he sent this thing, it landed right in my lap. I read it and I was like, there's your answer, homie. You got everything you need to. And, no spoilers, but I've not done astral projection or remote viewing.
Well, it's weird because I can't even find it right now. I can't find his
It's not this one. Hold on, let me open this up.
Well, every time I open it, it opens to something else.
It's the same one. That's weird.
But do you see the description? When you look at the description, it looks different. It looks shorter.
It looks totally different. Yeah, that's really. I guess it's the font is much smaller. Let me go through real quick and see if we can find anything else from Pastor Ben that maybe got tossed in here that wasn't supposed to be. That's so weird. It's the same one again in the red section. I'll go to another one, and it's the same one again.
Well, whatever second story he sent us, they don't want us to read it because I could see it there, but when I click on it, it won't open, which is
there's so many different versions of this exact same one. It's kind of strange and confusing. Like if I go into the new section, it's there twice. If I go into the red section, it's there 3 times.
Very interesting.
Well,
Very interesting.
I want to say it then, because if we can't find it and we don't read it, I'll spoil it a little bit. Pastor Ben, if you sent it and we haven't read it on the air, please send it again. Basically what happens is he goes on to explain that he's doing like a binaural beats C5, CE5. And I was like, oh, that's weird, because that's exactly what I was just locked into. And then when he goes on, long story short, he's like, it's a great way to get on their radar and start inducing poltergeist activity, alien abduction activity, like that. Like it's like a beacon. As soon as you do it, these things all come towards you, and then you start having all these experiences. And I was like, oh yeah, there's your answer. Like whatever happens, you're going into a spiritual realm, and these things they come towards you like a magnet. So probably not, but that was, to me, that felt like a really sufficient answer, where it was like, is this bad or is this good? And it was like, if you do it, this is what will happen. So judge it by its fruits. And the fruits are sleep paralysis, abduction experiences, poltergeist activity. And it's like, okay, yeah, bad fruits, baby boy. Bad fruits. So Jin here says, I saw a lady astral project on camera. And when the interviewer asked her to astral project to the birth of Christ, the day, or the death, I can't remember which one, she started manifesting demons. So I'm guessing not something you want to do. Right.
Yeah, Ben, if you could just send us the CE5 email again, because it's weird. I'm seeing the summary for it, but every time I pull it up, it pulls up this other one from 420, the one we're currently reading. Very strange, very strange stuff. Glad you read that before it got deleted, or how did it get deleted?
I don't understand how it got. I don't think it got deleted. That doesn't make any sense.
From both emails, it's not in the other email. It's very strange.
I don't know, but pick it up from here. Where he says, recently I sent in another story, because maybe he'll talk about it a little bit.
Maybe I found it here. Positive encounter with Christ. Found it with his CE5 stuff, right?
It says binaural beats in the title.
Yeah, CE5 app, binaural tones, and Dr.
That probably was it. That would have caught my attention.
All right, so we could read this. We'll read that one after. I guess this is all we have time for today, but let's finish this. I've had many strange and supernatural experiences. Even the personal testimony I shared didn't cover everything. It was already getting long. But that night, the warnings I received really fueled my faith. For a long time, I believed it was a personal message, like my life would be short. But as COVID unfolded and with other signs, I've come to see it more globally. I believe we're facing the end of an age.
Seems that way.
Yeah. That experience opened my mind to the supernatural nature of the world we live in, more so in a personal God that intervenes in the lives of his creation. I've seen both God at work and on the flip side, the demonic. In my roles, I've encountered the possessed, though I can count those times on one hand, and I've had even fewer instances where I was involved in casting them out. I'd be glad to speak on such things, though I have nothing to sell or promote except for the gospel and the reality of the supernatural of the world we find ourselves in.
We should talk to Pastor Ben.
Yeah, we should. We'll have him on. We're just really bad at following through
everything, really,
important
which is
things.
amazing. Once again, it's I go, people are praying for us because I'm retarded. How is this thing going so well? Is this that you have it? Is that what you just sent me? Okay, it's in our Gmail. Oh, so maybe that's it. It went to our Gmail and it never made it to.
I don't know what happened because Nancy copied, pasted it there. I can see this description there, but it won't.
This is so weird, dude. I clicked on it. It says this conversation you requested cannot be loaded.
Very weird.
Very weird.
Right.
Very weird.
You want to read this one?
Which one?
This one here in the Gmail.
Yeah, that's what I clicked on, and it won't load for me. It says it cannot be loaded.
That's so crazy.
That is very strange. Can you copy and paste it and put it into Google Drive?
I'm gonna try right now. We'll see.
Sorry guys. This is we have a
we have a system here, and it's like pretty foolproof, but it's just not.
Well, this one was like hidden from us. This kind of fell through the gaps. That's strange because it was definitely the title of it that would have caught my attention. Because when I tell you it was like I got the answer I was looking for, thank God, because I asked a question, I got
immediately answered.
Not only did he answer, but I also got like some nuance in there. It was like the way you do this is binaural beats, but do you want to do this? Because look at what it begets, and that was a pretty easy question for me to answer.
Do you remember that weird dude that I was talking to at the Tripoli show in Tampa?
Yeah.
He was big in like the binaural beats, so I took his number and all that because it seemed interesting. But something told me like, don't hit this guy up. And
I got really weird vibes from him and had to not be around him anymore.
You didn't like the guy. All right, go ahead and read this.
Okay.
Greetings and God bless.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this without that many interruptions because we're already how long in? Hour and 22. So this could easily turn into another hour if we don't do it right. It says, "Greetings and God bless. My name is Pastor Ben." Wait, this is his first. No, this is his first email. He says, "My name is Pastor Ben. Currently I find myself a pastor of a home plant church. Previously, I was at Calvary Chapel in Oregon for 9 years. Same Calvary Chapel denomination that raised people like Chuck Missler, who Ed Mabry studied under. I remember this specifically. Damn, MIT study on what? Let me just skim through this and make sure. Mindful meditation, MIT study on mindfulness. Maybe not study on binaural beats. Maybe we didn't read this. This seems like the first email he would have ever sent. And certainly we read that, right?
I don't know. No idea.
Strange. More so if it's binaural.
No, okay. There's a separate one that we read. This is so crazy. There's like...
It's weird the way it's... Yeah, because he's... Okay, all right, fine. I went through it. It doesn't look like we've read this before. In my past, I've had a wide range of experiences from pharmakia usage, DMT to secular sciences and the philosophy of man. You see, I was raised hyper-charismatic Pentecostal in a church that was loose on doctrine, a church at the core of Amy McPherson's Foursquare movement, one of the founding churches. I'm not familiar with that at all. I made my older brother an atheist. Oh, this made my older brother an atheist and made me agnostic. Oh, so bad experience with the church begets, dismissal of I guess, Christianity. In my search for meaning pre-Christ, I went to meditation, not Eastern, but more science-minded mindfulness meditation, a practice being pushed by more and more in schools. And then he includes an MIT study on mindfulness, which is interesting because I would say that reminds me of the version of like meditation and that Rogan is pushing. He's just stripped like the spiritual jargon from the conversation. And he's just like, yeah, man, these are good things for you. Almost feels like that. Further fMRI research shows that 9 days of this actually alters the human brain. It shrinks the emotional portion of the brain and grows the rationality portion. I did this for 9 years. I have found this was dangerous, and I struggled to feel emotion my whole life. That is, until Christ. I also struggle to feel emotion. When I was younger and I was homeless, I had to like lock it away, or else it would eat me alive. And now I have a real problem like feeling things, and then I'll get hit with like unbelievable amounts of like stress and anxiety out of nowhere, like once a year, and I'm like, oh, it's because I don't know how to feel things.
Yeah.
This point is peripheral to the main point, though. It was during this pursuit in my 20s that I stumbled upon a technology called binaural beats. You see, these are auditory tones played at varying frequencies in the ear. What it does is it causes the brain to subtract the two sounds, and the brain's state changes. As a simple example, the alpha state is often associated with concentration. So, a student in need of focus could put these on, play the tones, and get the brain state to shift into alpha state artificially. That's interesting. That's very interesting. A flow state. That makes a lot of sense to me, actually. Study on binaural beats. This guy is awesome. He's like including studies. In the example of the student, you could help mental focus. My curiosity and usages were more focused on the meditative brain states. Think Tibetan monks using a meditation bowl, but this time aided by technology. The Tibetan oracles are an interesting study on possession, a fact I learned post coming to Christ. That's fascinating. I would love to learn more about that.
Wait, say that again?
He said the Tibetan oracles are an interesting study on possession. I would say all oracles are, but I wonder what makes the Tibetans stand out as interesting to him. Because, you know, obviously when you have like the Greek oracles, like the oracle of Adelphi or whatever it's called, there's like a cave beneath where the oracle is doing its channeling, and that cave has like a noxious gas that's eking up. So she's inhaling this. It's a virgin who's inhaling this, gets put into an altered state, and then, you know, receives communications from entities, or more accurately, channels entities and becomes the speaking, or the mouthpiece for them. So I looked up the brain waves associated with dreaming, meditation, and lucid dreaming. I began my attempts to deepen this mental practice. This is getting to the point of this email. I was in a state pre-Christ seeking using technology that I inadvertently stumbled upon. He inadvertently stumbled upon the CIA gateway experience through a combination of binaural beats, meditation, and experimenting with DMT. This guy really went down the rabbit hole.
Well, this is that video that you sent me the other day with the pink juice and like
the
headphones. This is all the same stuff.
I mean, I've been talking about the Gates program a little bit, and it's definitely, it's part of it. That video that I posted was really interesting. The guy that was, I guess, the star of the show, the star of the podcast, when he's learning about the Gates program, he's freaking out because he's like, I went through all this, and he has an obsession with aliens, which was, I loved it. At the end, she said, it seems like the purpose is to get these children in contact with aliens. And I went, that's enough.
Exactly.
You did it. You did it. Yeah, you did.
It's funny to watch, awesome. Like all those people were kind of retarded, just fumbling.
They were all retarded, but I like her because even though she didn't have the information, she came to a conclusion that's she's standing right next to the truth, and she kind of doesn't quite know it, but awesome effort, good information, and your brain works well. And I bet you if I gave that chick the rest of this information, she'd probably come to the same conclusions.
Yeah, she'd run with it.
Yeah, she'd run with it. Okay, so early on, what I experienced only egged on my pursuit. The first time was much more vivid dreams and longer dream experiences. Later, during a trip with my brother, where we both tried the beats at a certain frequency, ended with a week-long ended with a week-long shared dream experience. I think that's what he's saying. So they're constantly for a week having shared dream experiences. We both woke up after one night talking about a crazy dream we had, turning out that it was the same dream shared between us. Where the events and things that happened in the dream matched. The dream was mundane, simply the vacation that we were on day one of where we had the experience of a full week of vacation in the dream. Oh, okay. So they shared a dream and it was a week long in the dream.
Whoa.
I really want to talk to this guy. I really want to get Pastor Ben on. This is interesting. The experience caused my brother to refuse to use them again, but for me, it only fueled my pursuit of lucid dreaming. After a few weeks after the shared dream experience, I was doing my meditation and using those tones before bed. This is what triggered a UFO abduction.
Yeah, Ben, you got to come on the show.
You got to come on the show, dog. And also, thank you for sending this because it literally stopped me from doing this.
You stopped David from getting abducted again, probably.
Again, yeah. Triggered a UFO abduction, complete with all the supposed events around it, all because of this sound technology. So this dude is using frequency, and it's resulting in an abduction experience that checks all the boxes. He's talking about like all the supposed events around it. I think he means like all of the patterns that people talk about from one experience to the next that all connect. It started with an intense vibration, light coming into the window and being lifted off the bed, being surrounded by malevolent entities, stereotypical grays. This is par for the course. Intense vibration, light coming through the window, the being surrounded by entities. Yeah, this is complete with all the supposed events surrounding it. That's spot on. It was in this moment that what I had learned in Sunday school took hold. I said, Jesus, help me. And what followed was an audible voice saying, I said no. I was thrown to the bed so hard, I bounced off and hit the floor. Damn, dude. It was the only time I've ever had anything like this happen. Abduction and/or sleep paralysis. It was at this point that I convinced myself abductions were a brain phenomenon and that the faith of childhood had been instilled, causing it to end. At this point, I saw rational science answers. How lost? Yes.
Sounds like Timothy Alberino, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had a similar thing happen where I tried to rationalize my experience that included sleep paralysis, inexplicably bright white light, and a shadow person in the room with me. I tried to rationalize that as like, I am learning about these things. So psychologically speaking, it makes sense that I would then dream about them. And I told myself that for a good while. And it wasn't until I found that the patterns were not unique to the individual. In other words, you're not projecting your life experience onto this hallucinatory background that you're experiencing while you're in paralysis, because motherfuckers in Japan are experiencing the same entities. If you doubt that, there is a PlayStation 1 game where a man in Japan tried to make a different experience than a linear video game with objectives to complete. Instead, he made a video game about his dreams. And in one of those dreams, you're standing directly in front of the most classic, 3D PlayStation image of the Hat Man that you'll ever see. So motherfuckers in Japan are having the same experience. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter your lived experience. You are seeing something that fits the pattern of people that you are very different from. Okay, boom. So it started with an intense vibration. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just read that. I threw that tech away and swore never to touch it. It lingered, though. So in those days, I searched and researched. I found alarming things in the UFO community. Others that the name of Christ ended theirs, yes. Further, I found people claiming to summon those things through meditation. Chris Bledsoe and more. That's a familiar name, but I don't know.
Chris Bledsoe, yeah, he's the guy that calls these things down. He thinks that they're angels.
Oh, right.
He has a father that does the same too, right?
Just fallen angels, dog.
Yeah.
All right. So I found people claiming to summon these things through meditation like I had, but no one had spoken of the binaural tech I used. So I said and told no one the frequency range I know to this day and had never told anyone what exactly it was. I would be interested in knowing what that is, but let me tell you something. I'm not sharing it with anybody because the last thing I need is for anybody who's listening to this show to go and adjust some frequency range and then all of a sudden have these things happening to them. But I would like to know for research purposes. I certainly won't be engaging in it, but I wonder if there's anything hidden within those numbers or if they apply to a bigger picture in any way, shape, or form.
That's what I wonder about the Rife machine as well.
Like, well, we have Rife machines. We find this frequency and tune our Rife machines to it and then have a really bad time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because there's frequencies for everything. And it's like, well, if you're accidentally on certain one. I don't know. We also got to call Rife. I don't know if that guy Steven's still alive. Hopefully he is.
Steven. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Never told anybody what the frequency range is. Fast forward to 12 years ago, I get saved and find Christ. See previous email for another miraculous and supernatural event. I would, but I don't even know what order these are coming in anymore. I don't know what's going on.
It's probably better if you just talk to us.
Just talk to us. Yeah, don't talk to us about chronological order. Just talk to us. And I see all the things I played with in my secular searching days come to the forefront through podcasts like yours and other whistleblowers in pop culture. I find myself still researching all the occult and science information I used to, but this time in Christ Jesus. I see practices rise, trends I dabbled with, and more. This time with Christ's spirit in me, now with the aim of the gospel to shine the light on the darkness. Yeah, I think it's that thing that's like as wise as serpents, but as gentle as doves. Is that the line? I don't know if it's gentle. Know. Wise as serpents and something as doves. But I think that's it. It's like there's no harm in understanding these things. The harm is when you start trying to do them yourself. And the other thing is leaning on your understanding. Like just because you think you have an understanding of these things to then go, that's my anchor point for everything is like probably not a good idea. Even your own understanding should be subjected to being tossed in the trash and reassessed. All right, so
lean not unto your own understanding.
Yes. We're almost done with this. Where am I? Fast forward to 12 years ago, we did that. In this research, post-Christ, I found more experiencers that would channel these demonic things and summon them to appear on command. Lights in the sky. Right. One alarming case is Chris Bledsoe. His tale is one of contact, summoning beings of light, and them giving him a new spirituality. His story was made into a movie, UFO of God, the extraordinary true story of Chris Bledsoe. Maybe I'll watch that.
Yeah,
and
I'll
soon
check that out.
To be made into another, especially with all the UAP whistleblower things going on in the news. It seems Hollywood wants to capitalize on this story. This is a very important testimony for everything that we talk about. I really hope that people hear this and they keep it in mind. It kind of informs the future of a lot of these things we're going to continue to discover and continue to have conversations about. But this should be something that we keep in the back of our minds. I fast forward to this year. I've been a pastor since 2014, and UAP, Stephen Greer, disgusting, David Grush are in the news talking on pods daily, and even being on conservative shows like Tucker and more talking about these things. Of course, with my past, this makes me pay attention, more so with his Holy Spirit in me and the old cavalry chapel guard of people like Chuck Missler under my belt, and now several years of listening to podcasts and other theological sources like Michael Heiser. It is at this point I find out that the Monroe Institute, Project Stargate, Men Who Stare at Goats, recent Sean Ryan show interview, offers remote viewing classes, astral projection, and they use binaural tones to accomplish it in their training. Yes, this is true. He says this set alarm bells off in my discernment. It didn't set alarm bells in my discernment because I didn't know until you, Pastor Ben, articulated so gracefully that these things beget these experiences. If I had that information, I would have also seen. So I see exactly what he's talking about.
The gateway drug to these things. Although, so Dan Duval was on with Merkel, and he was talking about these alternate realms that binaural tones and Project Stargate, these kind of techniques will bring you to. And he makes the argument that maybe we're not supposed to. This is for another conversation, and I wonder what Pastor Ben would think about it. But maybe we're not supposed to ignore it and hit it with the stick and not go there. He thinks that we should be going to these realms, but using the power of Jesus Christ and claiming it. And he has a point, because these
gangsters.
It is gangster, but these guys are out there. They're there operating in the astral and using the second heaven or whatever to just wreak havoc on God's people. And I think that, we're
supposed
fighting
to go there and kick him in the
because what's happening is like we're saying here is like, I'd rather you not touch me because if you do put something on me, then I have to play defense, and it's just annoying. Like,
Yeah.
well, then when do you stop playing defense? Like if you're fighting somebody, if you're fighting me, or we're sparring or whatever, and all I'm doing is like backing up and using movement, you're gonna become very bold, and you're gonna start stepping forward and throwing some like very dangerous shit at me. I have to hit you back, or at least give you the feeling that I'm going to hit you back.
Yeah,
so
you
that
either
way,
counter in a meaningful way, or you go on the offensive, because defense, just backpedaling and not answering is not the way.
yeah, but exactly what we're doing is like backpedaling, a lot of counter striking. I mean, like maybe like a jab just to like stop, backpedal, movement.
Let's go then, dude. If you want to go to the second
I
heaven,
don't want to do it.
If
I don't
you
know
want
how.
to do that, just let me know, and we'll do it, dude. We'll go
We'll find
there.
the
We'll figure it out.
tones.
We'll fucking
Listen,
listen
I'm
to
just
some
saying-
binaural beats. Pastor
There-
Ben, please, words of guidance.
Yes, please. We don't know what we're doing, but I mean, there might be something to that where it's like, hey, listen, we have, what's the word? We've given that realm over. We kind of like given that up and like say, you guys, I don't want anything to do with it. And now these people that have, malevolent tendencies have taken it over, and they're using very powerful tactics to do something that can be undone in this realm with just the word of Jesus Christ in most cases. So it's like, imagine if you do go over there and you felt like being like, no, this is mine now, and we're familiar with the rules here. So now you got to get the out.
I like it. We'll go to their house. We'll grind our muddy boots on their couch.
Honestly, maybe that's the Nephilim Death Squad right there. Everybody's like, all right, meet in the Astral in 20 minutes. We'll be late.
That's it.
But you guys get there.
God. Look. I you know me. I'm always like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm like, should I do this? And then I look at something and it's like, you probably shouldn't do that. I'm like, okay. But I'm going to keep asking. Every once in a while, something's going to get in my head and I'm going to go, are we sure we shouldn't be there? Like, is that definitely like, we're not supposed to be there? We're not supposed to do these things? Because it just feels like, I don't know, like a function that you can do yourself. I don't know.
This seems, here's the thing. This seems like an extraordinarily bad idea. This is like running in, like we're all going to be having fun and LARPing and go in there and get murdered. If people do this stuff, like that guy Dan Duvall is talking about doing this, like they're doing this not just responsibly, but these guys are prepared. Yeah. And they're going in there with the correct tools to do what they have to do. I'm just imagine an entire party raid. Like we're getting 37 homies right now.
That's what I'm saying.
But
look, instead of going into the woods, like Merkel does his documentaries, and he goes into the woods and he looks for things, and they don't find those things, and it's because they don't exist like in the woods. Technically speaking, they exist in a realm that bleeds over into our realm, and maybe there's something about the woods that facilitates that bleeding over. But let's do it, dude. If you do it, if I'm one of those guys where I'm like, if the homies are down, then I'm about it.
If you need a team 1 awake and team 2 asleep to
and we already know how to defend against them, right? It's scripture, it's the word of God, it's proclaiming the authority over these scorpions and serpents in the name of Jesus Christ, like we know what to do.
Yeah, call them ready, faggots. Bro. It's easy.
I'm about it. Call them faggots. There goes.
Pastor Ben, talk us off this cliff.
Let us know.
Continue, David. Continue.
Where the hell were you? Okay, so he finds out about the Monroe Institute. Okay, yeah. So further, this is alarming. Stephen Greer, the man behind the UAP hearing in Congress, the one making the rounds about the aliens, has and is pushing a phone application. It's called the CE5 Contact app. Yeah, like that's Top. You joke about the Ouija board app. Like this is way beyond the Ouija board app. It's probably
it should be illegal. Like libertarians would be like, oh, you guys want to use the state?
You know what though?
Like, dude, it should be illegal. You can't do that.
If you're in the UAP community and you're a big alien enjoyer and you think these are our benign space brothers, don't you still like have any discernment about you where you go, yeah, I'm not going to use an app made by a guy that looks like an albino Donkey Kong. There's no way that a man with that much real estate on his upper lip will ever make an app that I will engage with. Like that should be
cat face going on. That's like how
he's a horrifying looking.
Hate that guy. I hate looking at him. Don't like his face.
Disgusting. All right. So he makes the CE5 Contact app. It's an application for Apple and Android, making UFO contact recordings, documenting, and tracking. Wild. More so, it has binaural meditation tones in the app to help summon these UAPs.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I wish you knew how that happened to me. Like I'm sitting here and I'm trying to like ask God humbly, you know, I'm not so sure this isn't something that we should do. And how do I do it? If it isn't something I should do, give me a sign. And the first thing that pops into my head is binaural beats. It might as well have been like binaural beats, dumbass. And then right after that, this email comes in and I see
Here's the
this.
crazy thing, Pastor Ben. We're gonna be good friends. David doesn't check the email. I check the emails. He is like, so if you're sending DMs on I don't know, I guess on Twitter, if you DM your account, you'll answer.
You're also not going to get a response.
No, I'm responding from the Nephilim Death Squad, from the Patreon, from the emails, and I'm also doing from TOPLOBSTA.com. He doesn't look at this. But this one email that comes through, he looks at, and this is specifically for Chronicles, which we are not supposed to read. Yeah. And he reads it like a piece of like the piece of that he is.
I literally spoiled it. Like, you're not supposed to spoil this.
We're not supposed to spoil it. We have no clue what you guys are sending us, and that's why most of the time these stories suck. And the show sucks. So thanks a lot. But you read this one.
It's the truth. It's just what happens.
You read this one. Very interesting.
It is very interesting. Okay, so to my shock and alarm, it is the same frequency that I used in my seeking days that caused an abduction experience with demons to occur. Wow.
6969. That's a frequency. There we go.
Wow. 6969. 69's in the chat if Pastor Ben fucks hard, dude. But like, you know, doesn't, you know, to his wife and
metaphysically.
I'm sure it's not hard. I'm sure it's normal, you know.
It's probably really lovely.
I'm sure it's lovely. Yeah, it's a lovely. It's modern witchcraft using technology in a cell phone app to summon UAPs, being marketed to all by a man who looks like an albino gorilla. No, he says by a man who has national attention right now.
Yeah.
CE5 app, binaural tones, and Dr. Stephen Greer are encouraging people to summon demons thinking it's aliens.
All right, real quick. So all right, so it's being marketed to all by a man who has national attention right now. For some reason, I just got the other day, and I think it contributed to like my response to you about the whole hail thing, the idea that you had.
Oh, right.
I often
like made you very scared,
Yeah, and this is why. And it's uncharacteristic of me, but I get the feeling of things that are like gonna happen sometimes. Like I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but I'm like, you could feel it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm feeling is like, all right, what we're doing here, especially with the specifically with the Bohemian Grove, I'm like, that's gonna push this into a weird spot that I don't know. I can't predict what it'll look like, but it feels like maybe not the national spotlight, but like a very big spotlight. And then in my head, I'm thinking like, damn. It's not am I ready to talk on that level, because I don't like that doesn't affect me like the size.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking about is like I have to be like very careful, specific with what I'm saying at that level, because these guys are on this level talking, and there are people that will be pushed to the top to combat them eventually. And I don't know if it's us, but it sure feels like that. So when I'm thinking about that, I'm like, number one, do I even want this? I didn't really ask for that. I just kind of want to do a racist podcast.
Well, let me tell you something. If we have the opportunity to push back against this thing that I believe is very real, and we can do it in a meaningful way, give me that all day. I'll do that all day.
This is what I set out to do. But then as you get to a point where you're like, oh, damn, you're about to do that. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Then I start to go, dude, did I really want to do this? But I was, again, listening to Merkel, and as much as he hates us, what he said was right about whatever's being called. It was like if you're not obeying the order, like imagine how you sound. And he didn't use these words, but he should have used it. You sound like if God's like, he's like, you're gonna go do that. You know, they were talking about like past life regression in a sort of way, but not necessarily in that verbiage. It was more like the pre-Adamic nature of your soul.
Yeah. Honestly, I was listening to that and I was like, what am I don't know. It's like on other people's shows, I'm more scrutinizing than the conversations we have. And I heard that and I'm like, all right, man, like I'll go with you. But I'm on the edge right now.
Well, listen to, I mean, I think there's a point, like, you know, the scripture says that I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. And
Yeah.
people are made up of body. This is this, your spirit and your soul. These are different things. So your soul is crafted by God. And then when you're out doing something and there are attacks on you or things that are like, you have to stop you from doing some stuff, it's because, and I do believe this, I always thought about this, but like, there must be a roadmap in your life of like predictability. Like God doesn't know exactly what he could know, but he doesn't know exactly what you're going to do because he just like lets it go. But he's designed you in such a way where it's like, this person has these attributes that they can do this thing if they're going, and other things see that as well. So there's like this predisposed nature about you. And that's probably affected by, you know, your ancestors, the things like whatever's passed down in your bloodline. So like, not that we have like a pre-life necessarily, like we've lived before in the flesh. I don't think so. I think that we have this certain set of attributes that when combined and then manifested into a body, they will do certain things. And there's probably a science to it. There's probably a mathematics to it that anyone that's in the spirit realm could look at and go, oh yeah, that's trouble for us. Or, oh yeah, that's good for us. You know what I mean? Like this guy has the characteristics to do this thing. So we have to co-opt, we have to disable, we have to dismantle. And it even gets you thinking about Jesus. Like Jesus was this same thing. He's this entity. So there's like, if, you know, the idea of the Trinity or the 3 in 1, the Son of God, that's always there. He's in the Old Testament all throughout. And then he's put into a body. How long into that body does Jesus know he's Jesus? You know what I mean? It's like, there's like, these are crazy questions because he has to go and learn. He goes to Egypt. He learns. He's studying in the temple. He's learning for 30 years before he comes forward. And then he still doesn't even come forward until, I don't know, a couple of years into the ministry. Because it's not the time yet. If he comes forward too soon, they're going to kill him too soon, and he's not going to have done the work. So it's like, yeah, when you're put from that soul into this body, how much time is learning what you're actually doing? How much time is figuring out like what this soul is? How does it connect to my body? Like even when you talk about the autistic kids who are vibrating on a different frequency from their body. Their soul is like, it's complex. It's very complex. Something I've been thinking about.
I think there is something to that though. Like I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb or however the line goes, because there was certain, like I have attributes that have never left me and obsessions that have never left me that have been there since like way too young. And I jokingly said that the aliens put them there in the same way like they did to Fringe, where it's like you're worried about some coming calamity. Like I was, to use a line from like the Marvel movies, I was a child burdened with like glorious purpose. Like I thought for whatever reason, and like that wasn't the case. I ended up eating dumpster, donuts and like that. Having sex with a couple of fat women. So definitely not the
with
case.
The mustache.
Yeah, and the thin lips, the mustache thing. So, but when I was a child, I had that. Like I felt like I had a whole ass before I ever came here. Like I was and am now. But you know what I mean? Like I never didn't exist is how I always felt as a child. Like I felt like I was just now here, but I never didn't exist. I was just somewhere else. I didn't have ideas about what that other place was. But I also had this like mission driven thing that never left me. And in fact, kind of fucked up my life in a lot of ways, because no matter what I did, I felt like it wasn't the thing. It just wasn't the thing. I have a thing I'm supposed to do. 23, 24, maybe 25 jobs throughout my life. I'm 34 years old. And every single one of them was not the thing. This is the only thing that's ever felt like it. This is the thing, as far as I'm concerned. But I had that since childhood. So that meant that even school wasn't the thing. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do was my whole childhood. So I think there is something to it. I think we're all like preloaded with a thing. And the only thing that happens is maybe the education system gets in the way. When I was a kid, I had a dream at 6 years old that I climbed a ladder into the sky, and my dad was at the bottom of the ladder crying. When I was climbing up the ladder, I had like a shimmery golden glow. And I don't know if it was the same dream or another dream, but I do remember coming back down the ladder eventually, and I was not shiny anymore. I had removed the glow. You know what I rationalized that at 6 years old? At 6 years old, thought the glow was a thing that was killed by school.
It is.
But that's what I knew at 6 years old, was that the glow. And I guess I didn't know I was, something is telling me something. I don't know what it was, but And then later on, I'm like, oh, that's Jacob's ladder. Like I'm having a dream about Jacob's ladder. Like what the are you talking? We're preloaded, baby. We show up here with some in us already. And I don't think I'm unique. I think everybody has that. I think the only thing that makes me unique was like, I had this tenacity to not let go of it. Even if it was up my life, even if I couldn't hold a job, I wouldn't let go of it. And until I got to this point. So I think we are, I don't know if it's memories. I don't know if we've had experiences before this. I agree with you. I don't think it's in the physical. Maybe there is like a spiritual aspect that we exist in and we do have meaningful experiences. And maybe we're even preloaded with, you got a job to do. And when you get there, this is what your job is going to be. Because I've always felt that my whole life. So I think
but really... they could, there's a lot of paths. There's a lot of different ways you can go. You could even get killed. You can kill yourself in certain ways. I think killing yourself in a lot of ways is not doing that thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the goal, right? It's like you have a thing you got to do, and these things press you to kill yourself.
Do any or just anything else but that thing.
Yeah, it's very much the same way where it's like worship anything else but God. Where they're like they're cool with you venerating Star Wars. It's just as long as it's not going to God, that's fine. It's very much the same thing. It's like you could do anything else, just don't do that thing that you were put here to do. Apparently, I was put here to do racist podcast. So
maybe we're put here to do something else and just are distracted by racist podcast.
Oh, I think that's constantly. I think God's like, man, he did the racist thing. There was like all these things he could have done.
They did a ukulele cover. He did a ukulele cover. Are you kidding me?
Ukulele cover. Damn it, dude. There's like a couple of things that God has on a list, like real red flags. Like this is what he's gonna do.
Thou shalt not take any gods before me. No ukulele covers.
No ukulele covers. Yeah, there's probably a lot of things that we've done that God's like, damn it, dude. I'm sure it's constant. All right, let's wrap this up. Pastor Ben says, I am grateful for podcasts like NDS and YouTube pointing a light on the topic for what it truly is. Keep up the good work, and I will continue to keep you guys in prayer.
That's why we're crushing. We're trying to figure it out. Thank you, Pastor Ben. Yes, keep praying.
I would love to have Pastor Ben on the show. Pastor Ben, please reach out to us and come on our show, Pastor Ben.
Would be nice.
I want to talk to you.
Yeah, he'll come on.
Really nice.
Maybe we'll see.
I'd like to do that soon. I'd like to do that before I go on vacation. That would be cool.
Before you go on vacation, have him
I'm
on
going
the show.
on vacation.
Yeah, you're going on vacation tomorrow or the next Friday.
Vacation Friday. I'd like to talk to him tomorrow.
I can't
wait, no,
tomorrow.
You're not going to be here tomorrow. It's over. Damn,
it's over. This is the last that you guys are going to see us until Tuesday.
I'm going to be on a boat full of fat blacks.
You are going to be on a boat full of fat blacks. I'm going to be on an island full of blacks. Apparently my wife likes to bring me.
What are we doing?
Why am I keep letting my wife
spend all this time working hard on a racist podcast just to go? Maybe I'll go see what it's up.
See, I'm not racist. We go to islands. It's fine.
That's fine. Racist. I go to places where people wait on me hand and foot. What are you talking about?
It's crazy.
I love when I go to places where the service industry is entirely.
Guys, don't forget. We have a thing going on.
Grove.
Bohemian Grove. Go get your tickets. There's still tickets available. Every day I see a couple more sales. Every day we have more than a month, like a month and a half left until this is, but it'll sell out. We just booked. Should I tell them what we did? I think it's kind of fun. Or let it be a surprise.
No. I want that to be a surprise. I want people to even like it'll go over a lot of people's heads.
I don't think it will. I think people will go and they'll see what it is and they'll go, this is I don't know what it is. And good. I think that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm aiming for.
I reposted a tweet, or actually I sent it to you, and it was Sam Tripoli reposting an old bit from Owen Benjamin and saying, Owen killed this. This is hilarious. And what that told me is the relationship will be rekindled and Bohemian Grove, nay, Nephilim Death Squad will be the catalyst for the reignition of that beautiful relationship. We are going to bring back together two of our favorite people, Sam Tripoli, Owen Benjamin. They had a little spat. It was a little spat. They got a little, nasty with each other. But that doesn't have to be the end. In fact, I think it's the beginning of something very beautiful. And we're going to watch that relationship bloom on the stages of Bohemian Grove. And I couldn't be happier. Honestly, if nothing else comes of it, except those two being homies again.
Worth it. All the time and effort it's going to take to pull this thing off, get everybody organized, flied out to do the whole rigmarole. It's completely worth it if only mommy and daddy will make up.
That's it. This is not actually an event as much as it is a very large scale marriage counseling session.
We didn't cause the strife. They say an NDS caused the strife.
No, we didn't cause the strife. Scott, shut up, stupid.
You know what? Show's over now, Scott. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Scott. You did this. You did this.
See you next week.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see. You can't.